We're just hearing now, and again, a health warning that only some of the votes have been counted so far in Michigan, but that the number of people who've ticked that uncommitted box on the ballot paper is standing at around 16% of people who've picked uncommitted rather than voting for President Joe Biden. Is that number surprising to you?
It's encouraging because in the last few cycles in 2020, 2016, the total number was about 20,000 uncommitted who cast that ballot. And it looks like that number will be surpassed perhaps by quite a bit. There's some areas and districts with heavy Arab and Muslim populations that have not tallied their votes yet. So we're projecting that the number will go.
And just for context, 20,000 votes was previously about 10% of those who'd cast votes. And as I say, that's at 16%, but just that health warning that not too many votes have been counted yet. But that stems from this, I suppose, protest campaign from Muslim and Arab Americans in Michigan. How would you describe how they're feeling about Joe Biden and the approach that he has taken to what we're seeing in Gaza?
Well, I think if the uncommitted votes are an indication, it's deep dismay and a sense of betrayal. Many Muslim and Arab voters, our organization, Emgage, turn out the vote for the Biden-Harris ticket in a very clear-eyed manner against the presidency of Donald Trump. And we're proud of that decision. But the president has gravely disappointed not only our communities, but our democracy. The majority of the Democratic base is supportive of an immediate mutual ceasefire. And the majority of the Democratic base, not just Arab and Muslim voters, but the entire Democratic Party, the majority of it, wants an end to the slaughter in Gaza, and a rising percentage wants an end to unconditional aid for Israel that's using our money to kill little children. That's not what the Democratic Party stands for. And the party is a big tent party, and you're hearing from a very important segment of it that will absolutely have an impact in November.
Do you think Joe Biden is listening to those concerns? I mean, it's almost 4 weeks since he's been in Michigan himself. He sent members of his team to meet Arab and Muslim leaders in Michigan rather than going himself. How is all of that perceived?
You know, I really don't know what is being listened to. All we know is that the policies have not changed. And we're seeing continuation of U.S. support to the Israelis, to Bibi Netanyahu, including bypassing Congress with armaments and other types of military aid. That's unacceptable. So I understand there's been conversations. I myself met with the president, as you mentioned, early on in October. But we need to see a change of policy. Everything else is really just going to be talk and placating of our communities and our voters. Many of them have lost tens and sometimes hundreds of extended family members, as well as, again, our democracy is at stake here. Every day that goes by and the White House refuses to exercise its power to implement its own policies that it has stated is a day that we're getting closer to handing our country back to Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans.
And what about the timing of this announcement from President Biden yesterday that he felt a ceasefire, and again, even him using that word ceasefire, could be agreed within the week? What about the timing of that, given today was the primary?
Well, we have been hearing that there are, intensive negotiations happening with a number of countries, including the United States, supporting them to reach sort of a temporary ceasefire and a hostage deal, and all the hostages need to be released, particularly anyone who is, a child or a minor or a woman. But we need to see it happening. And I'll go back to my original point. The administration is not enforcing its own policy. It says it wants a de-escalation. It is telling Israel not to harm civilians. It is saying it wants more aid going to Gaza. But none of that is happening yet. We are not withholding any assistance, and in fact, we're bypassing Congress by sending more aid. It doesn't make any sense. We either mean what we're saying or we don't, and the actions right now don't show that we mean it.
Okay. Wael Alzayat, former State Department official, thanks so much for joining us here on BBC News.
Thank you so much.